The Galactic Council chamber stood as a testament to engineering brilliance and diplomatic finesse, a colossal sphere floating in the vastness of space, illuminated softly by the glow of distant stars. Its shimmering walls, a blend of metals and crystalline materials, refracted the diverse light of its occupants, creating a breathtaking iridescent display. Encircling the chamber's central dais were representatives from countless species, each positioned on floating platforms customized to their unique physiology and status. The air buzzed with a cacophony of debates, accusations, and negotiations, voices ranging from guttural growls to melodic tones filling the expansive space. At the epicenter of this controlled chaos was the council speaker, a towering crystalline being whose voice resonated like melodious chimes in a storm. Its translucent form pulsed rhythmically as it commanded attention and called the assembly to order. The next matter concerns the recent hostilities involving the Terran species, it announced, its tone authoritative yet impartial. A wave of murmurs rippled through the chamber. Humanity, a relatively new member of the galactic community, continued to inspire both intrigue and unease. While neither the oldest nor the most advanced species, their rapid adaptability and unpredictable nature had already disrupted the Council's equilibrium. The murmurs intensified as a platform glided forward, carrying a delegation from the Zigguran Dominion. This imposing reptilian species, with golden scales glinting under the chamber's light, was represented by High Chancellor Voss. He leaned forward, his slitted eyes narrowing as he addressed the assembly. "Honored Council," he began, his voice a menacing hiss, "we gather today to confront a grave transgression by the humans. Their reckless and warlike behavior threatens the stability we have long safeguarded." With a gesture, he activated a holographic projection displaying Terran warships descending upon a remote colony, their energy weapons leaving devastation in their wake. Gasps echoed through the chamber. "This virus," continued, "is but one instance of their aggression. We demand immediate sanctions against Earth and the disarmament of their military forces before their actions plunge us all into chaos." All eyes turned to a platform at the chamber's edge where the human representative, Commander A.A. Voss, rose with deliberate calm. Clad in a sleek, understated uniform, her presence was commanding, her movements precise. "Members of the Council," she began, her voice measured yet powerful enough to silence the room, "I have listened carefully to these accusations. I understand the concerns for stability and peace values humanity shares. But let me make one thing perfectly clear." She paused, allowing the silence to stretch and intensify before continuing. Her steady gaze scanned the assembly before landing on Voss. "You attacked our home." The chamber erupted into a storm of voices, some questioning, others accusing. The speaker's crystalline form flared brighter as it restored order. Voss, his voice dripping with scorn, retorted, "Preposterous. The Zigguran Dominion has always upheld the Council's principles. To claim we attacked without provocation insults this body's integrity." Commander Voss inclined her head slightly, as if weighing his words. "Insults are unnecessary, High Chancellor," she replied, her tone sharp but composed. "I am here to present the truth." Raising her hand, she activated a projection far more detailed than the Zigguran display. The image showed Earth, vibrant with life, before transitioning to Zigguran ships invading its atmosphere, indiscriminately attacking cities and defenses. "We intercepted your transmissions," Voss stated, her voice steely. "Your commander spoke of conquest, of crushing humanity before we could pose a threat to your dominion. You underestimated us." Voss's golden scales dulled momentarily, though he quickly regained his composure. "Fabrications," he hissed. "Clever manipulations to mask your crimes." Unfazed, Voss stepped forward. "If that is true, let the Council's analysts verify this evidence now." Her challenge hung heavy in the silence that followed. Voss shifted uncomfortably but offered no response. Turning to the assembly, Voss continued, "We did not seek this conflict. Humanity has never desired war, but when attacked, We will defend ourselves with everything we have." Gesturing toward the earlier Zigguran projection, she added, "The devastation on your colony was not an act of aggression, it was a warning. A reminder that Earth will not bow to tyranny." The murmurs resumed, but the tone had shifted. Curiosity, uncertainty, and even admiration threaded through the whispered conversations. Voss pressed on, her voice softer yet unyielding. "You see us as a threat," she said, her gaze firm. "Perhaps we are. Humanity does not pose a threat out of a desire for dominance or power, but to those who believe they can act with impunity, mistaking compassion for fragility. Our history is littered with those who underestimated us. None have prevailed." Commander Voss stepped back, her sharp gaze cutting across the room, landing briefly on each representative. "The choice now lies with you," she stated firmly, her tone unwavering. "Will you hold the true aggressors accountable, or will you allow fear to cloud your judgment?" As Voss took her seat, the chamber lingered in silence, her words resonating like an echo of challenge. The crystalline speaker dimmed momentarily, reflecting its contemplation of the weighty statements. The session concluded not with closure, but with a lingering question that hovered like a blade, ready to fall. The hush broke as the holographic display above the human platform shifted. Where Earth's image had once stood, vibrant and unmarred, scenes of devastation now unfolded, cities engulfed in flames, bursts of energy raining down from the skies, and civilians scrambling for safety amidst chaos. The cries of a world under siege filled the silent air. Voss rose again, her calm exterior belying the gravity of her words. This was Earth on the day the Zigguran fleet arrived. They came not to negotiate, not to warn, but to conquer and destroy. The projection zoomed in on a crumbling metropolis, skyscrapers collapsing under relentless bombardments, and masses of humanity retreating underground as drones swarmed overhead. The display was visceral, its impact cutting through even the most hardened council members. Gasps and whispered exclamations rippled across the assembly. Representatives leaned forward, their focus locked on the unfolding scenes. "What you see here," Voss continued, her voice unyielding, "is the unprovoked attack on a world that offered its hand in peace. Humanity believed in coexistence. We labored to understand your laws, your customs, and your expectations, and yet our trust was repaid with blood." The image shifted again, now showing Earth's counterattack, makeshift warships launching into space, ground forces repurposing industrial machinery into weapons, and defenses forged through sheer ingenuity. Against overwhelming odds, humanity resisted. "We were not prepared for war," Voss admitted, her gaze unwavering. "We had no fleet stationed beyond our system, no allies to call upon. But what we lacked in resources we compensated for with resolve." The projection froze on the moment human forces battered a Zigguran mothership, its shields flickering under concentrated fire. Voss turned her gaze directly to High Chancellor Virus. "You called us reckless aggressors. Yet it was your fleet that crossed the void to subjugate a people you deemed too primitive to resist. And when we pushed back, when we refused to yield, you branded us villains." Virus hissed sharply, his claws tapping the edge of his platform. "Your retaliation was excessive," he growled. "We lost a colony because of your vengeance. Innocent lives were extinguished by your actions." The hologram shifted once more, revealing intercepted Zigguran transmissions. The harsh, guttural tones of their commanders outlined a calculated invasion: secure planetary control, eliminate resistance swiftly, establish dominion. Voss let the words play out, her expression resolute. "These recordings, intercepted during the invasion, leave no room for misinterpretation. This was no misunderstanding. It was a deliberate, premeditated assault. And still you underestimated us." The chamber buzzed with tension as representatives exchanged furtive glances. Some nodded subtly, acknowledging humanity's resilience. Others remained skeptical, their expressions wary. "Our strike against your colony," Voss continued, her voice rising with conviction, "was not vengeance, it was survival. The same fleet that destroyed our cities regrouped there, preparing for another assault. Eliminating that outpost was our only option to ensure Earth's safety. The hologram shifted again, this time depicting the aftermath of humanity's retaliation. The Zigguran outpost reduced to rubble, its once formidable infrastructure now charred remnants. The weight of the image pressed heavily upon the room. For a moment, silence reigned, the wreckage serving as a grim testament to humanity's resolve. For centuries, humanity has endured trials that could have shattered us, Voss declared, her tone filled with fierce pride. On our world, we have faced extinction more times than I can count. We have fought against nature, against ourselves, against forces that sought to destroy us, and each time we emerged stronger. When your fleet came, we faced you as we have faced every challenge before, together, unyielding, determined to survive. Her words hung in the air, not merely a statement but a defiant challenge. The council, many of whom had grown complacent in their positions of power, now saw humanity not as an anomaly, but as a force that demanded their respect. It was a spark the galaxy hadn't witnessed in millennia, an indomitable spirit that went beyond mere technology or tactics. It was humanity's unyielding resilience that unsettled them. The crystalline form of the speaker flickered briefly, signaling its intent to address the assembly, but before it could, High Chancellor Virus interjected. His voice was sharp, laced with desperation and venom. "You distort the truth, human. You paint yourselves as victims while ignoring the destruction you've wrought. How can this council allow such arrogance to go unpunished?" Commander Voss tilted her head slightly, her composure unbroken. "Arrogance," she replied, her tone firm but calm, "is believing you can invade a world without consequences. Humanity did not choose this war, Chancellor. You did, and now you must face the consequences of that choice." The chamber erupted into chaos, voices clashing in a maelstrom of anger, support, and hesitation. Voss stepped back, her hands clasped behind her as she waited for the storm to settle. The speaker's chimes echoed once more, gradually restoring order, though tension lingered in the air like a storm cloud. "You have heard humanity's case," Voss continued, her voice cutting through the residual murmurs. "The evidence is clear. The question is not whether Earth acted aggressively, but whether this council will hold the true aggressors accountable. What message will you send to the galaxy? That unprovoked violence is met with justice, or that power shields the guilty?" As she took her seat, her face betrayed no emotion, neither triumph nor fear. The council members exchanged uncertain glances, their expressions betraying the weight of the decision before them. The evidence presented was irrefutable, yet the implications were monumental. To rule in favor of humanity would set a precedent, one many representatives were reluctant to endorse. The speaker's glow dimmed briefly, signaling the beginning of deliberations. Commander Voss leaned back in her seat, her gaze steady as she watched the assembly. Representatives whispered in clusters, their platforms drifting closer as factions aligned. Across the chamber, High Chancellor Virus sat rigid, his golden scales dulled under the harsh light. His claws twitched nervously as he hissed orders to his aides, his unease barely concealed. He understood the truth alone was rarely enough in the intricate maze of galactic politics. He needed leverage, allies, anything to shift the tide. The speaker's crystalline form brightened, drawing the assembly's attention. The matter of the Zigguran Dominion's aggression against the Terran species and humanity's subsequent response has been deliberated, the speaker declared. Representatives will now cast their votes. A hush fell over the chamber as the platforms aligned in a circular formation around the speaker. One by one, representatives raised sigils that projected their decisions into the air, symbols of support, condemnation, or abstention. The central hologram displayed the tally for all to see. Voss watched, her face impassive, though her pulse quickened. Green sigils, representing support for humanity, lit up against the hologram. These came from species who admired humanity's resilience or feared unchecked Zigguran aggression. Red sigils, favoring the Dominion, reflected deep-seated alliances and political debts. The largest faction, however, abstained, their golden symbols signifying neutrality and a reluctance to take sides. When the final vote was cast, the speaker's voice resonated through the chamber. The Council finds the Zigguran Dominion guilty of initiating hostilities against the Terran species. Sanctions will be imposed and reparations to Earth are recommended. A wave of muted reactions swept through the Assembly. For the first time in its history, the Council had ruled in favor of a new member over a long-standing ally. It was a decision that would reverberate across the galaxy, reshaping the balance of power in unpredictable ways. Virus surged forward on his platform, his voice a venomous snarl. "This is a travesty. The Council has been deceived by lies and manipulation. Humanity is a threat to us all, and you have allowed them to grow unchecked." Voss stood slowly, her calm voice slicing through the uproar. "The Dominion attacked us without cause, slaughtering civilians and seeking to enslave an entire planet. If standing against such barbarism makes us a threat, then perhaps it is time to reconsider what you call justice." The chamber erupted once more, voices clashing in a storm of arguments. Some echoed Virus's fears of humanity's rising influence, while others dismissed his protests as the desperate cries of a predator caught in its own snare. The speaker's chimes rose above the noise, silencing the commotion with finality. The Council's decision is final, it intoned, its crystalline body glowing with authority. The Zigguran Dominion will comply with these sanctions or face further consequences. Virus glared at Voss, his reptilian eyes narrowing. "You may have won today, human, but this is far from over." Voss met his gaze evenly. "On that, at least, we agree," she replied. As the Zigguran platform retreated, Voss allowed herself a measured exhale. The Council's ruling was a victory, but not a triumph. It was a reminder of humanity's fragile position within the galaxy's intricate web of power. As the Assembly dispersed, representatives approached her platform, some offering guarded congratulations, their words laden with hints of potential alliances. Others kept their distance, their intentions unreadable. Voss responded with quiet courtesy, revealing nothing more than was necessary. Later, as her platform returned to its dock, Voss stepped onto the polished floor, her boots clicking softly. A junior officer hurried to her side, his expression alight with urgency. "Commander," he began, "we've received word from Earth. The Council's decision has already sparked unrest among certain factions. Zigguran loyalists are refusing to comply with the sanctions." Voss nodded, her expression thoughtful. "That was expected. Have the defense fleets been alerted?" "Yes, Ma, I am. They're repositioning to monitor Zigguran movements. Admiral Reyes sends his compliments on your handling of the Council." A faint smile tugged at her lips. "The Admiral knows as well as I do this is only the beginning. The Dominion won't take this defeat quietly, and neither will their allies. We'll need to be ready." As they reached the hangar, Voss paused and turned to the officer. "Send a message to Earth Command. Inform them the Council ruled in our favor, but emphasize the need for vigilance. Let them know the galaxy has seen what humanity is capable of, and it won't be long before we're tested again." The officer saluted and departed, leaving Voss alone in the cavernous hangar. She gazed out at the stars, their cold light a stark reminder of the fragile peace she had fought to secure. Humanity had made its voice heard today, proving that even the smallest players could command respect in the galaxy's grand symphony. But Voss knew that this victory was only an overture. The true battle lay ahead, demanding strength, unity, and the unshakable resolve that had defined humanity's survival. She turned and boarded her ship, the hiss of the hatch closing marking the end of this chapter. As the engines roared to life and the ship rose into the void, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was merely the beginning of the trials yet to come.